So just give everyone a few seconds to sign in here, because I know it's just turned 10 o'clock. So good morning, everyone. Just give a few wee seconds or so now, just to give everyone the opportunity to get logged into today's webinar. It's a beautiful morning out there. Great to see a bit of sunshine, isn't it? Okay, like there seems to be now a good group of you out there. So we're going to start because we know it's just for the hour. So I'm going to share my screen and then we will get started. So can you see the screen okay? Just give me a, yeah, happy days. So hello and welcome to today's webinar, which is on child self-esteem and confidence. I'm going to give you an overview on what self-esteem is and how it impacts on our confidence. Veronica then will talk about how important this is for our children. Charlene will look at cool things we can do on a daily basis to develop self-esteem and confidence in our children. And then Lynn will be doing her session on baby massage, which I just look forward to. It's just so wonderful and so relaxing, and I hope you feel the same about it. And then at the end, Pauline will answer a few questions on self-esteem and confidence. So before we start, I want to ask you to think about someone. Think about someone you know who just you think has great self-esteem or just ooze confidence. How do you see that person? Or more to the point, who do you see? Sorry about doing this, but do you see someone we consider a real big head? Someone who's just overconfident, a narcissist? Or do we tend to think of that sort of person? Or is it an old school friend who we think has just got it made? Or as my granny used to say, that's the sort of one that needs to be taken down a peg or two. Or do you see someone with superpowers or someone who can take the world on? All these different people comes to mind, don't they? So the second question I'd like to ask you is, did you see yourself or did you visualize someone close to you? Because I think there are days that we do feel we can take on the world, and then other days it seems just too much and we just don't feel it, but on the normal, time frame, it's how we see ourselves generally over a time frame, and that is what is referred to as our self-esteem. So what exactly is self-esteem? Self-esteem refers to the feelings a person has about his or her own value or worth. Self-esteem is nurtured and developed from the day we are born, and it comprises of three core components. The first one being how much a person feels loved and valued. The second one, how capable the person feels. I really like this picture, so I do, because I think it sums us up, on our different journeys every day, how we feel about different things. So on different days, we definitely will see ourselves sitting at the bottom step. But it is important to remember that we keep trying, and loads of times we actually reach it to the top of the stairs. But I wonder how often do we actually acknowledge the days we get to the top? I think sometimes some of us spend maybe a little too much time thinking about the days we spend at the bottom of the stairs. Hopefully that's all going to change now after today's session. And now we'll look at the third component, which is how the person relates to the world around them. And this is really important because the people we share our lives with impact on our self-esteem. And it's important to understand that sometimes this can have a negative impact, especially if those we share our lives with don't tend to support us. I'm sure there are loads of times we have felt our self-esteem was knocked, and has had an impact on our confidence. But the thing to remember is that self-esteem can be built right back up again. And by talking to yourself in a positive, encouraging voice, you can change how you see yourself and your ability to do things. So you know that inner voice that gives out to you all the time about the things you didn't do well. It's time to switch him or her off and to start telling yourself the good stuff, the stuff that you do well on a daily basis. This is a great wee picture. And I'm sorry if you've seen it before, but I really do think it's great. It's a story about a teacher who wrote the 5 times tables up on the school board. And the children started laughing because they saw that the teacher made a mistake. But she was trying to make a very important point. Sometimes we tend to spend too much time focusing on what we do wrong or what others get wrong than the lots of things we get right or that others get right. In this example, there's only one wee mistake. Everything else is correct. So take some time today after the webinar and consider, what do you focus on? So now we're going to look at how self-esteem is nurtured in children and how maybe we can change our focus a little on how they do things also. Now, these are the 5 times table, and it is important to get it right. But the question is, how do we get people to do things or get the right answer? It's how we actually go about it that's important. So a child with good self-esteem feels loved and important. Unfortunately, a child with low self-esteem may feel not so important or feel that they are likely to fail when met with a new task. A child with low self-esteem may also feel less confident in relation to the wider community and environment. Some people believe that self-esteem is simply something that comes naturally to people, that it is something they are born with. Well, this is not the case. Self-esteem is not something we are born with. Self-esteem is learned. A child's self-belief is shaped by the messages they receive from their parents, and these messages can be deliberate or they can be unconscious, both through spoken words or through our non-verbal actions. For example, our facial expressions, our tone of voice, and body language. Sometimes the messages a child receives may not be what a parent intends at all. It can just be lost in translation. Now, on our next webinar, we will be looking at language and communication. So you can tune in for that one and see how sometimes our messages can mean something very different to children. The seeds of a child's self-esteem are sown in the home during the preschool years. So the messages we give our children from the day they are born impacts on their self-esteem. How we parent is very important. And believe it or not, the experts believe there are 4 types of parenting styles, and each of these styles provides different outcomes in our children. I'm going to provide you a quick overview of these before I hand you over to Veronica. So the 4 styles are bossy, authoritarian, distant, easygoing, or positive, authoritative. The first one, bossy. This type of parent has expectations for a child that are too high, does not enable a child to make their own choices, often insults and belittles a child, and often ignores good behavior and tends to focus more on the negative and excessively punishes their child. The distant, sometimes referred to as neglectful, rejecting, or disengaged parent. And this type of parent does not have a close relationship with their child, allows their child to do what they want, shows little interest in their child's behavior or aspirations, and does not supervise their child or arrange adequate supervision when needed. The next style is our easygoing or laissez-faire. This type of parent lets their child do what they want, does not establish any rules for their child, will give in to the child having tantrums, and provides no structure for their child. And then the 4th style is the positive or authoritative. And this type of parent enables a child to make their own choices, makes clear rules and enforces them, rewards children's positive behavior, and is involved in their child's daily life where possible. So there's a lovely little visual graph on these parenting styles. So you see to the top of it, you've got your setting boundaries, supervision, and then over to that, my sense of direction is terrible. So it's over to the side, you can see where love and nurturing is. And the more positive we are in our parenting, you can see that it's high with regards to love and nurturing and boundaries. And this is the best type of parenting that we want. And sometimes we slip into the other ones. I know I certainly did. So it's just to be mindful of what we're doing. So how we parent impacts on how our children see themselves. And if we adopt a more positive, authoritative approach, we provide an environment that will lead to higher self-esteem in our children. So that's my wee talk, and now I'm going to hand you over to Veronica, and I'll stop sharing my screen and just thank you for listening into that. Now, Veronica, you're on mute.
Yep, the choice of technology, I just didn't hit it twice. Sorry about that. Hi, everybody. My name is Veronica, and I'm just going to try and share my screen here now. And the ladies might let me know if they can see it okay. Is it okay? Okay. So thanks, Mary, for that there. So I'm going to talk to you today about why self-esteem is important and how self-esteem impacts on how we are with others. So first of all, why is self-esteem important? As a parent or caregiver, we all want to give our children the best start in life and for them to grow up to be happy, healthy, and confident individuals who reach their full potential. Self-esteem plays a crucial role in determining this outcome. It also is the foundational principle of success and happiness in children, and also plays a large role in whether a child will be successful as human beings. This can be in terms of anything which the child views as successful as you as an adult, whether to be happy, confident, follow their goals, work hard, have successful interpersonal relationships, and contribute effectively to society. Self-esteem is the way we see ourselves and our personal value or worth, and self-esteem is the beliefs about ourselves. And it is important. Sorry, screen's not. Is the screen on? No.
No.
Nope. There you are. There. Sorry. Technology, the joys. Apologies about that. So, self-esteem. I'll just recap there. Self-esteem is the way we see ourselves, and it's how we view our personal value or worth. And self-esteem, or the beliefs about ourselves, is important as it determines how you view and interpret everything that happens to you in your life. It's the same for your children. It is the lens we see the world through. For example, if we take children who have healthy self-esteem, they are able to cope with mistakes. It helps them try again, even if they fail at first. They don't view their self-worth any less because of this mistake. And as a result, self-esteem helps children do better at school, at home, and with friends. In contrast to this, children with low self-esteem feel unsure of themselves and are unable to find it hard to cope when they make a mistake, lose, or fail. As a result, they may not do as well as they could or try again, as they view their self-worth less due to this mistake. Self-esteem is one of the core foundation blocks in and promoting positive child development, especially in promoting positive emotional and social development. This is where children start to understand who they are and what they are feeling and what to expect when interacting with others. Development of these social and emotional skills are essential for connecting with others. They help us manage our emotions and build and maintain healthy relationships. Healthy self-esteem provides a solid basis for learning. For children, research indicates that children with high self-esteem, by the time they enter school, they get better results, are more popular with other children, need less discipline at home and in school. In later life, healthy self-esteem determines growth and success in both personal and professional life, i.e. they have successful, meaningful relationships and have good academic or career success. Depending on your self-esteem, whether it is good or bad, this will predict positive or negative outcomes. Apologies, screen just froze there. And depending on your self-esteem, whether it's good or bad, it predicts positive or negative outcomes in life. It impacts your decision-making processes, your relationships, your emotional intelligence, your physical, emotional, and mental health, and your overall well-being and quality of life. Sorry, my computer seems to be a wee bit slow, so sorry, and bear with me. Okay, so we're going to expand further. So why is self-esteem important? As I said earlier, self-esteem impacts how you think, feel, and behave and interpret everything that happens to you. A child with a healthy self-esteem will have positive thoughts about their worth and value as a person, In contrast to a child who has low self-esteem, they will more likely to have negative thoughts about their own worth and value as a person. These thoughts, as Mary said earlier, are our internal dialogue, or self-talk, which reinforces our self-image, the image we think of ourselves, whether good or bad. This in turn controls how we act. To develop our children's potential, we need to think well of ourselves and themselves, and to accept ourselves and the children. We need to raise our children's self-esteem to enable us to pursue a better life and help children reach their full potential. After all, we are what we think and what we think we become. If children think more negatively about experiences or events, or put themselves down, they become demotivated, feel more helpless, become more critical of themselves, and lower their levels of self-esteem and the potential to do better. In contrast, if children think or praise experiences more positively and they learn from, children will become more motivated, feel more confident in their ability, and increase their levels of self-esteem. Be careful of the messages you are sending your children, as Mary said, as self-esteem is learned and it's important to choose your language and communication carefully. As language and communication is used repeatedly, either in a negative or positive way, about themselves, this becomes the truth for their child, because it's the truth in their mind. As a very young child, they accept what they are told. As parents, you have a huge role in helping your child develop a positive self-talk. By encouraging them to keep themselves motivated, being confident and focus on their goals, what they want to achieve, you are helping them succeed. When you are a positive role model of self-talk and positive with your children, encouraging them to feel good about themselves, you are building the foundations for a person who will be more resilient in later life. They'll be better able to cope with their life's ups and downs, trust their own judgment, see their potential, and be more confident. You're teaching your child that while you can't always control what happens to you, you can control the way you see it and how you react. Self-esteem is developed by believing in yourself and your potential. Charlene is going to give you some brilliant ways later on how to develop self-esteem. So, children with high self-esteem. So research shows that children with high self-esteem tend to be more self-confident, have more friends, are less likely to succumb to peer pressure, perform better in school and in later life, view their relationship with their parents more positively, ask for help when they need it, are more resilient in response to life's challenges, learn from their mistakes, are more confident in relating to the world around them and help other people. They are also more optimistic in life, have a positive attitude, and when they feel confident and secure, they are more likely to have a growth mindset, which means they can motivate themselves to take on new challenges and are also able to stand up for themselves. A child with a good, healthy self-esteem feels loved and important, as Mary said earlier. These are just some of the benefits of a healthy self-esteem in children. The list is endless, and as the best benefits of a healthy self-esteem in children is evident across all the developmental domains, from physical, cognitive, emotional, and in the social development domain. Now, in contrast, children with low self-esteem. Obviously, it's the opposite. Children with low self-esteem, research has found they tend to feel more frustrated, they're angry, they're anxious, and they can be sad. They can have low self-confidence and are very self-critical of themselves. They can give themselves a hard time and find it hard making and keeping friends. They can become withdrawn or give in to peer pressure. They feel they are not good as other people. They are more likely to be teased or bullied, and they lose interest in learning or feel they are more likely to fail when met with a new task. Children with low self-esteem develop self-defeating ways to deal with challenges, like quitting, denial, and avoidance. This avoidance can be seen if joining groups if they think they won't be accepted. Children with low self-esteem won't try and join groups. Children with low self-esteem, unfortunately, are more linked to have negative outcomes in life and are more likely to develop future social and mental health problems such as chronic stress, anxiety, depression, and substance misuse. A child with low self-esteem may feel not loved. They may feel rejected or unimportant, and overall find it hard to navigate their ways through life's ups and downs. Now, is there such a thing as too much self-esteem? Well, I think in today's generation, it's starting to emerge. There is a generation with an inflated self-esteem or an overly high level of self-esteem. If you even think of Mary there that pointed out to Donald Trump, or you can think back on X Factor where a singer comes on and they think they're the best singer in the world and they can't sing. So maybe is this an example of inflated self-esteem? But the reasons for this may stem from parents or people in their immediate environment who praise their child for no possible reason. just to try and increase their self-esteem, which is normal for every parent because they want their children to have good self-esteem. And from the previous list of the benefits mentioned, it's not hard to see why they want to do this. But children with low self-esteem are more likely to reject this heavily praise. They don't know what to do. So in relation to overly high esteem or inflated self-esteem, what can this result in? It can actually lead to negative attitudes such as a false sense of abilities, if we think of the people on the X Factor, entitlement, superiority of others, self-absorbed, and it can even lead to bullying, rudeness, unfriendliness, and even create narcissism, and ultimately can lead to dysfunctional behaviours such as alcohol and drug use. It is important to have a healthy, balanced sense of self and a healthy self-esteem. This can be achieved by reserving your praise for noteworthy accomplishments and behaviours. This will help your child become more aware, of their strengths, limits, and responsibilities, and are given ample opportunities to challenge them, and they feel secure that they're loved even when they fail. So we move on to now how self-esteem is and how we are with others. The capacity to form and maintain relationships is essential to us and how we function within society. It is a key component to being mentally healthy and have a positive sense of well-being. So how does self-esteem impact on how we are with others? Self-esteem, as said earlier, whether positive or negative, affects how you think and feel about yourself, influences the way you behave, the way you are with others, and in turn affects the way that people see and act towards you. Children's experiences of healthy and unhealthy relationships when they're young will impact on how they build relationships in the future. Relationships with others, by parents, siblings, family members, and friends, shape the relationship with oneself and can shape the person a child will grow into, their emotional well-being in the future, and the future relationships they choose to create. These relationships provide a template for our relationship with others and what to expect. For example, if children experience healthy relationships with parents or adults who create a safe and caring environment showing love and empathy, as children grow, they will express these and look for the same competencies in their own relationships. These caring relationships can be the foundations for a child developing their own sense of self and identity. As Mary discussed earlier, as children grow up, their ability to form and sustain relationships, be that with peers, parents, teachers, etc., is crucial. Being connected to friends and people in the community helps your child learn how to relate to others and can boost their confidence. Having a good relationship with others increases a sense of belonging, importance, and fosters positive self-esteem, which helps a child feel happy and capable of maintaining personal relationships. So we follow on from that there. Research has also shown a well-established link between good self-esteem and positive quality relationships and relationship satisfaction. Self-esteem affects how much love we're able to give and also receive, and how we treat others and how we expect to be treated, especially in relationships. Children with high self-esteem will be able to sustain respectful and fulfilling relationships with others. They're able to make friends easily, they're not anxious with new people, and can play in groups with others and will ask help if needed. In adulthood, children with a healthy self-esteem in adults now will have a strong social support network, healthy and positive, successful relationships, and contribute effectively to society. So, low self-esteem. The link between low self-esteem and unhealthy relationships is a link between, sorry, my screen has froze, sorry. So the link between low self-esteem and unhealthy relationships is poor quality relationships and relationship dissatisfaction. So it's simply the opposite of adults or children with high self-esteem. Children with low self-esteem have poor social relationships, less social support, and a more negative relationship experiences. They find it hard to make friends and keep friendships. They may have difficulty simply being themselves. They feel lonely, isolated, and are unable to trust others, and they avoid taking part in class discussions and group activities. In adulthood, as these children with low self-esteem grow, they learn to hide their feelings, become anxious or withdrawn, become people pleasers, and become codependent on other people. They find it difficult in sustaining relationships and become more involved in unhealthy relationships. They may feel angry and be aggressive towards others, or even bully other people. Now, if we even look at self-esteem and social and cultural diversity. As we live in a multicultural society, it's important to be open and respectful of others. A child with high self-esteem is more confident in the way they relate to the wider community and to the world. A child will copy how their parents relate to difference and diversity through language, communication, and behaviour. A child must be equipped to deal with difference and diversity in a positive and healthy way through positive reinforcement of difference and diversity. This will help children embrace difference and diversity, accept difference as a positive rather than significantly negative, be respectful to others, be more compassionate and understanding towards others, and be able to respond positively to difference and diversity. When a child embraces difference and diversity, it also has a positive effect for children and is confident in their ability to be socially and culturally sensitive to other cultures and traditions. It also allows them to be more confident and comfortable in their choice of careers and experiencing the wider world. And it helps them to be confident in the wider community circles. A child with low self-esteem relate less confidently and more anxious in the way they relate to the community. They become uncertain when they encounter new and different life experiences of others. This becomes difficult to unlearn as they develop and grow, and it actually can lead to possible alienation in a wider context, in social circles, schools, sports, activities, etc. I would like to thank you for listening, and just to give you a brief summary, healthy self-esteem is important as it enables our children to become confident, compassionate, and empathetic individuals, which shapes how our children view themselves and the world in a positive light. Healthy self-esteem enables children to have the capacity to deal with life's ups and downs and makes them able to sustain and develop fulfilling relationships that enables your child to grow and flourish now and in the future. Now I'm going to pass you on to Charlene, who's going to show you some tips on how to develop self-esteem. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Thank you, Veronica. And we'll just start by sharing the screen here. Okay, can everybody see that okay? Yeah, right, so promoting self-esteem. So parents need to follow all their child's bucket of self-esteem so high that the rest of the world can't poke enough holes to drain it dry. So we have heard how important self-esteem is. Now we're going to look at the best ways to help our children develop this. So what is your truth? If we hear something often enough, it soon sticks and becomes our truth. We want our child to be the best that they can be and to reach their full potential. But in order to do this, they must believe in themselves. That is why we must ensure their self-esteem is at a level where others cannot diminish it. So we will look at all the things that encourage self-esteem. The first one being a warm and loving environment. To build our baby's self-esteem, we need to set the foundations, whereby we create a warm and loving environment. This is achieved by developing a secure attachment where all the child's basic needs are met. And this is simply through their feeding, bathing, changing, dressing, all the essential things that we do with our baby. Warmth, compassion, and empathy are also crucial, as they demonstrate love and understanding of the baby, how the baby is feeling. And this can be achieved through lots of cuddles, play, talking, facial expressions, and body language. This is the simple love and attention we give to our children on a daily basis. Communication, what we participate in, also models the social skills that are necessary for all our daily interactions. Also, special time. This is where it is just one-to-one time with your child. It is recommended that you have at least 10 to 15 minutes of special time every day. This is where the child takes the lead and they can choose the game or activity, but within reason. This shows them how important and valued they are, where they have your undivided attention. This can be difficult at times if you have a busy household with siblings, housework, your job, and the list can just go on. But even if it's just at bedtime, where you're cuddled up in bed together and you're reading the story, that they choose, and you're talking about your day. It gives you a chance to really connect, and it really has so many proven benefits. Next one, encouraging independence. Children need a sense of competence, being able to do things for themselves. Not only does it give them a sense of achievement, it also teaches them those all-important life skills. We spend so much of the first few years teaching them how to do things. Then whenever they have them mastered, we try and take over. How many times have you been in a rush and it's just quicker for you to do it? Then you hear a cross little voice saying, "Me do it myself." It can be so frustrating on both sides. Where possible, allow the children to do the things for themselves. And even if they don't do it right, try not to fix it in front of them. Always show praise and encouragement for the effort rather than the end result. Now, provide developmentally appropriate activities. These are essential to encourage self-esteem. If we provide tasks for our children they cannot do, for example, giving a 250-piece jigsaw to a 4-year-old, we're just setting them up for failure. And there is nothing more disheartening than thinking you're no good at something or that I can't do it. We always want our kids to feel that they can accomplish anything. Therefore, it is important that we build upon their accomplishments. And this is what we call scaffolding. So just imagine if you were building a house and you put the scaffolding outside it to build it, keep building it up. So for the example with the jigsaws, you start off with the wee small inset jigsaws where they just have to put the pieces on, and then when they master that, they move on to the next one where they're starting to put pieces together and work up until they can do that 250-piece jigsaw. So discipline focused on the behaviour and not the child. A firm and loving approach to parenting. A positive parenting style, as Mary discussed earlier. This encourages the child. Have age-appropriate rules, boundaries, structures with clear expectations that are known to everyone in the family, and be clear and consistent with what is expected of both the child and adults. Be specific of what it is that you want, and have consequences that are relevant to the behaviour. For example, if they don't put away their Lego, they won't be allowed to play with it the following day. But always remember to be respectful. It's about discipline, which means to teach and improve behaviour, whereas punishment can be about inflicting pain or humiliation. Now, as with Mary's earlier example, we have the wee example, this is spellings, and it's praise and criticism. So how many times do we say, "You did a great job, but why don't you try this?" We give praise in one hand, then take it away with the other, with a criticism. It could be very well meaning and be used as help or encouragement, but it can really quash the entire compliment or praise. It is so important that we praise our kids for the effort and not on the end result. I sometimes put this up in my groups, and someone always says to me, "But look, you got one wrong." No mention of the other 6 that I got right. And we all do it. If your child comes home from school with a spelling test saying, "I've got 19 out of 20. And we say, "But what happened to that other one?" Instead, just simply say, "That's great. You must be really pleased with yourself." Allow them to be proud of their achievement. Or if they're disappointed at getting the one wrong, reassure them that they tried their best and it's okay to make mistakes. It's important that children can deal with times when they don't get it right. This can be difficult for some children and even adults, but it's how we manage it that matters. Therefore, we must model acceptance or acceptable ways to overcome this. Acknowledge that you made a mistake, learn from it, and move on. So from now on, just say, "Wow, you worked so hard in that, and give such a great imagination," or whatever is suitable to what they're doing. And then just imagine a full stop. Forget about the but. Developing a good relationship with special people. Good relations with special people such as siblings, grandparents, relatives, and neighbours gives the child a strong self-image and is a good base for emotional development. And this is essential for equipping the child to accept, respect, difference, and diversity. So 10 ways to build your child's self-esteem. Plan activities for positive parent-child interactions. Be spontaneous and make the most of opportunities to interact with your child. Pay attention to what your child is telling you. Encourage your child to tell you more about the things they do. Try not to be judgmental about what your child has told you. Become more aware of what you say, when you say it, and how you say it. Show affection for your child, not just in actions, but also in words. Pay attention and reward good behaviour. Give your child some real age-appropriate responsibility, which you know your child can do. Make a deliberate decision to build your child's self-esteem. So some of the cool ways to promote self-esteem. Books and stories are a fabulous way of promoting self-esteem. If your child is struggling with a particular issue, it is a great way to approach the subject. Perhaps let them reach a conclusion for themselves without having to be told. It can help them see that everyone is different and that it is our own uniqueness that makes us so special. A starry sky chart. This is a family activity. It's just a black piece of card and some sticker stars. So you discuss as a family maybe the things that you get the stars for. It can be an act of kindness, something that somebody did that you like, but it's not just the parents that give it, it's the children get it as well. Maybe mummy or daddy made a nice dinner and the children want to thank you for that or praise you for that. They can stick on a star. It's a great way to model behaviour and expectations. Then when the sky is full, an agreed prize can be shared. Maybe a movie or games night, a trip to the park, or your favourite takeaway. You as a family can decide. Next, we have a complimenting hand. It's a lovely activity if someone is feeling a bit sad, or even just a nice reminder now and again. Each of you draw your own hand and then give it to the other person. Then you write some of the things that you love most about them. Cooking and baking is great at giving children a sense of achievement, especially if everyone can sit then together and enjoy what they have made. Again, outdoors is essential for emotional regulation and mental well-being. And as with cooking, gardening can give a sense of achievement, planting seeds, nurturing and watching them grow. They will get such a sense of satisfaction when they are able to eat what they've grown themselves. Board games. This is a fun activity for all the family that teaches many skills, such as turn-taking, communication, and most importantly, resilience. Things may not always go their way, but games like these give them the opportunity to help them deal with losing in a safe environment. Again, praise for their efforts and talk about what went wrong and what they could do next time that might help them win. We as adults tend not to get imaginary play as much as kids. We have developed quite a lot of inhibitions over the years and can sometimes find it hard to just let it go and find our inner child. Children love imaginary play with us, mostly because they can take the lead and have all the wonderful ideas where they create their own world, giving them the confidence to be what they want. Now, I'm not sure if anybody has heard this story of the great inventor Thomas Edison. I'm just going to give it to read it out to you. So one day, Thomas Edison came home and gave a paper to his mother. He told her, "My teacher gave me this paper and told me only to give it to my mother." His mother's eyes were tearful as she read the letter out loud to her child. "Your son is a genius. The school is too small for him and doesn't have enough good teachers for training him. Please teach him yourself." After many, many years after Edison's mother died, and he was now one of the greatest inventors of the century, one day he was looking through the old family things. Suddenly he saw a folded paper in the corner of the drawer in the desk. He took it and opened it up. On the paper was written, "Your son is adult or mentally ill. We won't let him come to school anymore." Edison cried for hours, and then he wrote in his diary, "Thomas Alva Edison was an adult child that by a hero mother became the genius of the century." So speak to your children if they are the wisest, kindest, most beautiful humans on earth. For what they believe is what they will become. So all the activities we have are fantastic at promoting the child's self-esteem, but there is one common thing in all of these, and that is your time with your child. So now that is me finished up, but you're going to have some lovely time now with Lynn as she goes over some lovely baby massage.
Hi everyone. I'm sure, like myself, you have been listening very intently to your last speakers. I'm quite sure that you're feeling maybe reassured that you're doing a really good job as a parent, and hopefully you will be able to take from it the tips and hints and the practical activities to equip yourself to establish good self-esteem in your children. So we're just going to look at a wee video now of baby massage. Good morning, everyone. You've heard from our previous speakers how to develop good self-esteem and self-confidence in our children, but this is largely dependent on the foundations that the child feels loved and wanted. And there's absolutely no better way to show a child or a baby that it's loved and wanted than through baby massage. We've already looked at the legs and the tummy, the colic routine and the chest. So today we're going to look at the arms and the face and the back. So sit back and relax and enjoy. And I hope your wee ones are with you and you can actually get a wee chance to carry it out with them. Okay, so relax. So we're going to start with resting hands on baby. And this is just out of respect, so the baby knows that we're going to be touching their body. And remember we said about the oils, cold organic pressed vegetable oils is what the IAIM recommend, and that's who I was trained with. My view would be that any kind of oil that's good enough to eat is good enough to put on the skin, as long as it's not perfumed and doesn't distort the smell between caregiver, mum, dad and baby. So we're just going to take a penny's amount of oil and put it in the palm of our hand, and we're going to warm it up, and we're going to let baby see and hear what we're doing. And we're going to ask for permission to massage. Is it okay if I massage you today? Yeah? Okay, so we're going to start with the arms. So you can pick up an arm, any arm. And we're going to start with Indian milking. Remember we did this on the legs. So we're going to just slide from shoulder down to wrist. Shoulder down to wrist. And then we're going to do our hug and glide. Remember that one? You might find it more useful to do it with fingers this time. And don't pinch the skin in the middle. Okay? Shoulder down to wrist. And then we're going to do what's called the pit stop. Hopefully you can see. I'm just turning baby on her side so that you can see, okay? So we're just going to go into the wee armpits and a good wee pressure, because you don't want it to be ticklish. And then we're going to just move to the palm of the hand, and with our thumbs, we're just going to stroke the palm of the hand. And We're going to do your finger rolls, thumb roll too. Do you remember what we did with the feet? And then we're just going to stroke the top of the hand like so. And our wrist circles, just tiny wee movements around the wrist. And we'll finish this arm with Swedish milking. So this time it's wrist up to shoulder. Wrist to shoulder. And finish that wee hand by rolling. Now we're going to pick up the other hand and we're just going to do exactly the same. And then milking from shoulder down to wrist. And then milking shoulder to wrist. And then our hug and glide. Our hug and glide. And glide. And then we're going to do our wee palm. And our finger rolls. And then the top of the wee hand. And then our wrist circles. And our Swedish milking. Wrist up to shoulder. Wrist to shoulder. And finish by rolling. And then we're going to have a wee look at the face. Now for the face, we're not going to be using oil on the face. So if you just cleanse your hands and then you can move towards the wee face. So this first one is called, I'll just turn baby this way a wee bit for you, Open Book. And that's across the forehead, just like so. And then we're going to relax the eyes, and that's just across the eyebrows. And the next is towards the bridge of the nose, coming down to the cheekbones and pushing up. And that's very good to do if baby's feeling snuffly or has a wee bit of a cold. And then we're going to do the upper lip smile. So it's just along the wee upper lip. And the lower lip smile. Same again, just on the wee lower lip. Just below the lip. And that's very good if baby's teething. And then we're just going to relax the wee jaw. Just draw circles around the wee jaw. Okay. And then the next one is for the ears, neck and the chin. So this time we're just going to pretend that we're tucking our hair behind our ears, coming in below and round the wee chin. So behind the ears, along the jaw and into the wee chin. Now we're going to move on to the back. So this can be done with baby on your knee, like so, or on a pillow, or anywhere the baby feels comfortable. Okay, so this time we will need a wee bit of oil again. So if you just want to put a wee penny-sized amount of oil in your hands. So we're going to start by resting hands. So baby knows this is the area that we're going to be working on. And we're just going to swoop our hands over the wee back and forth. And then we're just going to swoop from the top of the back down to the bum. Top of the back down to the bum. Top of the back down to the bum. And then we're going to extend this swoop right down the legs. So down over the bum, down to the ankles. And then we're just going to draw circles all over baby's back with our fingers. And then we're just going to finish by using our fingers as a rake or a comb. And just swooping down the way back. And that is your full body massage complete. And I hope you really enjoyed it as I have, and do feel free to practice away on baby. And don't get too hung up on what the moves are called or anything. It is basically touch and showing your baby that they're loved. So thank you very much for tuning in today, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you very much, Lynn, and thank you, Charlene, Veronica, and Mary, for your contributions this morning. I'm just going to deal with a couple of your questions and I'll give you some advice about what's coming up next. So we have a question from Pamela. She says, my brother and his wife are constantly praising their child for performing the most mundane of tasks and always saying how well he has done, even when he's done really badly. They say they are doing this to build his self-esteem, but I think they're giving their child unrealistic expectations about his ability, which will not help him in the long run. Well, Pamela, there is no doubt that human beings respond positively to social approval, and that praise is important for building self-esteem and can be very motivating. But the evidence does suggest, as Veronica pointed out, that some kind of praise can be demotivating and fuel narcissism. It really depends on how the praise is being worded. Children quickly learn when praise is insincere. Overinflated or extreme praise, especially in relation to results, can backfire sometimes. For example, telling a child she's a brilliant violinist when she's clearly not could lead to disappointment at a school competition, music competition. The evidence suggests that praising children for their effort, for the way they approach a task, is particularly effective in motivating children. Also, using words like very good or well done rather than perfect can also motivate children and help build self-esteem without setting too high a standard that children might feel that they can't attain in the future. Excluding Mrs. Edison, of course. It's important to think about the message we're trying to give and to praise effort, progress, and improvement. For remember, our children need our support and encouragement all the time, not just when they do something praiseworthy. We have a question from Eileen. She says, praise seems to make my child uncomfortable. She often gets angry when I praise her. Am I doing something wrong? No, you're not, Eileen, doing anything wrong. There are a number of possible explanations for this. She may be self-conscious. She may feel that she doesn't deserve the praise, and that is something that you might need to mine a little more deeply. Or she may feel that she'll be put under pressure to perform in the same way in the future. Or she simply might know how to respond. Using more subtle non-verbal signals such as a smile or thumbs up, that might help. Again, be careful how you word the praise. Focus on progress rather than outcomes, as Charlene said, or on such qualities as kindness that we all can achieve. You want her to feel appreciated as a whole person, not for just what she does. You are her role model. How you react to compliments and praise yourself is important learning for her. Remember your inner voice, as Mary says. Explain to her that praise is a little gift, just needs a thank you and a smile. Now, I have one comment that I'd like to read out from Susan about this morning's webinar. She says, I don't think I've been a very good role model for my children because I don't have a lot of confidence myself. This morning's session has helped me because I'm beginning to understand where my lack of confidence comes from and how I can better build my children's confidence. Thank you. Well, thank you, Susan. The effects of what we experience in early life, we know can last a lifetime. Hence the importance of being aware of how we can affect our child's development, both in positive and also in negative ways. Small changes in what we can do can make a really big difference to child outcomes. We often talk about the inner parent. How we were parented can have a real effect on our sense of self, on our sense of who we are. And our sense of self will impact on how we parent our own children. So it's important that we are aware of how we communicate with our children and the parenting styles that we adopt. As Mary says, it's important to adopt a positive parenting style. Now, we won't always achieve that. Things get in the way, our lives influence what we do on a day-to-day basis. But if we aim to that and we do it often enough, that can make a real difference to our child's development. And spending time with your child is so important. As Charlene points out, there's a great deal of useful resources that you can use to boost your child's self-esteem, including our wonderful baby massage. So I'm afraid we're running out of time now. So if I haven't answered your question, or if you wish to discuss any of the issues that we raised today, you can email us. It's best to email Mary, mary.home. If you want a copy of our booklet on self-esteem, also email Mary before the end of the week, before the 16th of April, and we'll post one out to you. Remember, it's mary.holmes@lifestartfoundation.org. And thank you so much for attending our webinar this morning. I do hope you enjoyed it. We will be running our next webinar on the 11th of May, and as Mary says, we'll be focusing on communication and language development. And we do hope that you'll be able to join us then. So it's goodbye from the SOC team. Bye.